Today I want to spend a moment talking about what your income statement says about your business. So traditionally, law office owners who engage a fractional or external chief financial officer or CFO to work with them are usually interested in taking more of a CEO role for their entity. As a result, these owners want to know what to look for in their financial statements and, more importantly, how to interpret that data into actionable insights. I usually start a financial analysis of a business with the income statement. This type of a report provides the most basic information on the financial condition of any business, including a law office. Using this sample 2016 profit and loss statement for the fictitious LDG law firm as a starting point, we know their annual revenue with advanced client costs or expended case expenses for a gross profit are $549,318. We also note total operating expenses by subtracting total expenses from gross profit. We get a net income of $260,890. There are 4 basic key performance indicators, or KPIs, that we can source from this data that will give us a sense of the financial strength of this fictitious law firm. The first financial benchmark, or KPI, to calculate is gross margin. We obtain this by dividing gross profit by total revenue of the LDG law firm, which shows us that they have a gross margin of 95%, which means that only 5 cents of every dollar is spent for cost of service, leading into revenue. This ratio reveals that the legal services offered by this firm come at a minimal cost to provide the service, exclusive of their internal fixed and variable costs. Examples of legal service offerings which may reveal a low out-of-pocket expenses may be practice areas such as criminal defense representation, trust or estate planning, or family law matters. By contrast, an example with a higher cost of service would be ones where there are fixed third-party fees in providing the services, such as patent applications, immigration applications, or processing fees. A lower gross margin may show that the firm is charging a flat fee that is not sufficient to cover outside expenses and provide a margin to cover internal operating expenses and the value of the attorney's time necessary to resolve the matter. The KPI can reveal whether your firm is offering services at a margin that encompasses everything that it needs to. The second financial benchmark, or KPI, is a ratio calculated to show the firm's client acquisition costs. This is a financial ratio that reveals the firm costs to acquire clients and keep them, presuming, of course, that they turn into clients. Using the examples in the LDG firm, we note the following line items that are direct examples of client acquisition costs: advertising, promotion, client gifts, email marketing, meals and entertainment, and website costs. These expenses total $31,243. By dividing the total expenses by total income, we see a ratio of only 5%. This again is very low, and maybe due to the strong referral relationships this firm has, hence the gifts and entertaining amounts as opposed to marketing expenses. Marketing firms for legal services will tell you that your target ratio should be 30% of revenue spent for advertising. However, law office practitioners can understand that if you want to acquire clients without spending double-digit percentage of revenues to do so, that is obviously a much more enviable position to be in as a law office operator. The third benchmark to calculate, or KPI, is the overhead percentage. These expenses are your internal fixed and variable costs related to earning fees for the legal services you provide. Again, turning to the example in our sample statement for the LDG law firm, we can take out the previously identified client acquisition cost and the payroll amount and use the total remaining divided by the total revenue and see a ratio of 26%. An industry standard rule of thumb is 30% for overhead. So any number greater than that may need attention, but being under 30% is a good thing, as it means your firm has more money to spend elsewhere and is conservatively managing your vendor relationships. The fourth and final calculation is to calculate the percentage dedicated to payroll or owner compensation. Again, turning to the data for the LDG law firm, we see a payroll expense of $119,916. Of importance is to note that this sample statement shows an insurance expense, but it does not provide enough detail for us to understand whether that is professional liability insurance, workers' compensation, premises or property coverage, or employee health, dental, or medical benefits. For the sake of simplicity in our exercise, we will conclude that it is none of the above, but if it were employee benefit related, we would include it in our compensation analysis. As a more in-depth review of this financial data will show, the owner of this firm records only $110,916 as a payroll expense, which may not include their personal compensation together with support staff. This particular owner may be a fan of not taking a regular salary and instead may pay themselves in one big payment at year's end. For the purposes of this exercise, we will presume that the firm has employees that comprise the $110,916 of a payroll expenses, and that the owner will compensate themselves the net income for a total compensation of $371,806. This is a ratio of 65%. Again, using the industry standard rule of thumb of 30% for owner compensation, we see that this exceeds that amount, but what law firm owner will complain about paying themselves more than the average? If the LDG law firm in this sample statement were my client, I would encourage them to consider paying themselves a regular bi-weekly, twice monthly, or monthly W-2 wage of at least $150,000 annually for two reasons: to provide a deduction of payroll taxes to the office and give the owner tax payments to offset their 1040 and state personal tax filings, but also to provide a record of Social Security earnings in the event they become of age and want those benefits. As you can see from this short analysis, the more detail we collect with the specific and granular income and expense categories that are recorded on these statements, the deeper the analysis we can dive into. I hope this information is helpful and await any questions or feedback you may have.